Welcome to 31 Days of October, Week 2. So what is up, guys? Welcome to Week 2 of 31 Days of October. Last week, we had such a great time, and I got such a positive response from not only YouTube, but from Killer Flicks on Facebook. So, looking forward to this week. We got Durant Cinema, and we got HorrorGal Susan. So I'm really excited to see what movies they watched and for you guys to see what movies they watched. So first off, we're going to start with HorrorGal Susan. She is a huge member of the horror community, a good friend, and she loves Elvira, and I think that's really cool. Make sure you definitely check out her channel. There's a lot of comedy in there, and you're going to discover quite a few horror films that you might not have heard of. She loves horror. I mean, she lives it, she breathes it. So anyway, take it away, Susan.
It's Susan. I want to say thank you so much, Lee, for including me. I have really been looking forward to it, and everyone else that you have included is amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm a huge fan of you as a person and of your channel, so I really appreciate it. So now let's get on to what I've been watching this week. First, I watched Chopping Mall.
Now, Chopping Mall is basically killer robots.
Chopping Mall is a classic 80s cheese fest. It features a bunch of teenagers deciding that it would be a great idea to stay in the mall after hours and get a little action. Basically what they don't realize is some lightning strikes the control center, and next thing you know, all the security robots are trying to pick them all off and kill them. So it's a lot of fun. Barbara Crampton is in this one. I highly recommend it. If you love cheesy 80s horror movies, it's fun. It's a good time. Check it out. The next movie that I have been watching is Hocus Pocus. I don't feel that you can go wrong with this movie. This movie is kind of a cult classic. It is a Disney flick, everyone, so this is a family-friendly Halloween movie that you can watch with the entire family. This has Bette Midler, Kathy Najimy, and Sarah Jessica Parker as a coven of witches, the Sanderson sisters, who are out to suck the lives out of little children. So what couldn't be more fun than that? I definitely recommend this one. It has a lot of rewatch value, and if you are over 21, there is a drinking game online, and if you surf YouTube, you'll probably find me playing. The next movie that I watched was The Conjuring 2. James Wan directed this movie. This is another installment of the Warrens' paranormal investigation experiences. Whether you're pro or con, obviously this is a Hollywood take on it. There are a lot of jump scares. They do pay off, so hey, if you like somebody and this is your first date, this is your movie. I enjoyed this movie. I thought that it was a really visually well done and accurate movie. This is portraying the Enfield haunting, so if you look that up online, you will see that they did try to stay very true to the feeling, the atmosphere, the sets, the makeup. I really thought it was a very well done movie. I enjoyed it. For one of the quote-unquote big Hollywood newer movies, it was a good time. And you know, who doesn't enjoy watching a scary nun every now and then? The next movie I watched was Christine. Who doesn't enjoy Stephen King, John Carpenter, and killer classic cars? I don't know, I do. Plus, there's some great music in this movie that basically orchestrates Christine's thoughts. So you'll find classics like Little Richard, You Keep a Knockin'. I can't hear that song on a radio anywhere without thinking of Christine. So that is kind of a testament to how well put together this movie is. It really is an 80s classic horror movie. You've got to see it if you're a Stephen King fan, John Carpenter fan, 80s horror movie fan, classic car fan. What they do back then with some of the scenes with the car repairing itself, for example, it's amazing. From the very beginning with the opening scene at the assembly line with George Thorogood's Bad to the Bone, you know you're going to be in for a bumpy ride. And it is a very fun movie with a pretty good rewatch value. It's one of those that when it's on TV, you know you're going to watch it again. You just leave it on. You know you're going to watch it. So I definitely recommend this one as well. so far I'm doing pretty good. I recommend everything I've seen. And the last movie that I watched this week was the 1976 Brian De Palma, Stephen King collaboration, Carrie. This is a really great Stephen King novel, so if you get a chance, please actually read the book. And I think that Brian De Palma did an amazing job, an amazing cast in this movie. Sissy Spacek, Piper Laurie, Amy Irving. There are so many great performances in this film. And this movie is about a redhead who's picked on, mocked, humiliated, and made fun of, who then seeks revenge. I don't know why I would like this movie at all. Yeah, so you know, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, hell hath no fury like a telekinetic redhead scorned. This is definitely a must-see movie, must own it, by the way. Scream Factory, new Blu-ray release. Please pick this up. Yes, mine is unopened, but I already know the amazingness that lies inside of this bad boy. So please pick this movie up. It is amazing. Sissy Spacek gives an amazing performance, and what I believe is truly the character of Carrie that you see in the book as well, which is rare in film. I highly recommend this one. So I just wanted to toss in that I am watching a lot of horror TV, American Horror Story, Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, but the two that I've been having a lot of fun with are horror comedies that some of you may not know about, which is Ash vs. Evil Dead with Bruce Campbell. It is amazing, it's great, it's so much fun. And also Scream Queens with Jamie Lee Curtis. That is absolutely hilarious as well. So I do recommend those if you're looking for some horror television to watch. Well, thank you so much, Lee, for including me in this. I hope you guys enjoyed what I watched this week. I hope you're having a happy October and Halloween season, even though Halloween is every day for a lot of us. And once again, Lee, thank you so much for including me. I'm super flattered. This has been a blast.
Okay, next up we got a dear friend of mine. This is Dave from Durant Cinema. We have been friends pretty much ever since I started doing this YouTube thing. I mean, within I think a month after, we became fast friends. And he has always been a really good friend of mine. If you know my channel, you probably know his channel. He puts out amazing content. The guy just is an editing whiz. And you can tell from watching his videos, he puts a lot of time and effort into these. So, looking forward to seeing what he watched. Take it away, Dave.
Yo, what's up, guys? I'm back on 31 Days October on Lee from the Drumdums channel, representing the t-shirt.
Oh, baby, I'm excited.
It's great to be on with Susan from the HorrorGal.
She likes to talk like this, just, you know, talk about horror movies. It is gonna be a fun time. It's gonna be a blast. I cannot wait. Woo!
Sadly, I only got to see 4 movies this week, but these aren't just any 4 movies. These are the 4 movies I've never seen before, and these movies are well known. Some classics in here. And I was just like, you know what? I need to watch these today. So I did that. Let's jump right into it. So the first movie that I watched on Monday was the Blair Witch Project. I saw the newest one, and I thought that movie was okay, but this one, I really dug. I loved the reactions. They felt so real. It feels real. It feels like a real documentary because it fucking seemed like it. The acting was spot on. It didn't seem phony. It didn't seem fake. Like, these are the reactions I would go through. Like, you'd be scared. You'd be laughing at times, like in certain situations, and it just seemed genuinely so real, and I loved it. It was creepy at times. Ending was like, wow, out of nowhere. How I feel on it, like, damn, like, that's how it ended. But other times I'm like, wow, like, that's how it ended. Next one, I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna throw in a Jason movie because I've been kind of slacking with my Friday the 13th. I threw in Jason Lives. He lives, baby. The lightning bolt just shocked him in the dick. He's alive. No, he's just, you know, it's pretty much just him going around killing people in random places in the woods. It's always fun seeing Jason just kill people with this machete. Not until the 3rd act was when it really went down and felt like really intense at the end. Now these next 2 I'm about to tell you literally might make your head explode, that I've never seen these. Exorcist and the Red Rum. The Shining, yeah, that's right. First time ever. What? One of them was disappointing. The other one I loved. Get into the one that I thought was disappointing, and that was The Exorcist. I know. Don't get me wrong, there was some really course, fucking creepy parts with her head turning around. I'm like, oh my god, that's not right. People don't do that. That was pretty nasty, especially the throw up. You want fucking throw up on you. That's just gross. Yeah, I don't know. It just did really. I thought it would creep me out a lot more or make me like more scared, but that wasn't the case. I was like, yeah, all right, you know, I popped in the next movie. But The Shining, though, The Shining. Let's get into The Shining. Was incredible. I just love the atmosphere of the emptiness of the hotel. Jack Nicholson's performance was awesome. Just how he became just crazy. But let me tell you this one part scene, all right? Let me just talk about this one scene real quick. You guys know what I'm talking about, all right? I can't really say I don't want to give out any spoilers, but Jack Nicholson enters this room. My eyes. Hair just, I got chills. I have chills fucking right now thinking about it. I thought it was a great movie. I really enjoyed The Shining. That was my favorite out of the 4 movies. But also, not only that, I finished Ash vs. the Evil Dead. Reminded me a lot of Supernatural, around fighting demons. But fucking Ash, man, Bruce Campbell is hilarious. So entertaining, and I loved it. Let me move over. Say the first episode was insanely creepy. I was creeped out. That was a great opening, and I think it was directed by Sam Raimi for that first one. So that was really cool. So I finally finished this, really dug it. I was hooked into it. I kept watching episode after episode. Really good. I can't wait for season 2 to come out. So yeah, that is Ash vs. the Evil Dead. Yeah, guys, I think that's about it. And I just want to thank you, Lee, for having me on here. And where's my phone? Yeah, hello?
I can see you. Look to your right.
Who is this?
It doesn't matter.
What's that?
I swear to God, if you tell anyone what happened here, I'm gonna get...
All right, guys, I watched 7 movies this week, one for each day. So let's get into it. First off, I watched one of my favorite remakes, Last House on the Left. And this is one of those remakes that I actually prefer over the original. If you've watched the original, you might not be surprised by that because it's definitely not for everybody. It is really gritty, but I don't think it's as accessible as, say, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's some hard stuff to watch in the original Last House on the Left. And there is some really disturbing imagery in this one as well. But I just thought the narrative just flowed much better in this movie, and I thought there was a much more satisfying conclusion. So if you haven't checked out the remake of Last House on the Left, definitely check it out. Next up, I watched a brand new movie, Rob Zombie's 31. I've been looking forward to this, but the thing with Rob Zombie is sometimes you can get great and sometimes you can get horrible. And if you really, compare the 2 Halloween movies he did, I was not a big fan of the first one. The characters were just way too much. I mean, they were just in your face, constant profanity, and I have no problem with profanity. Goodfellas is one of my favorite movies ever. But I think profanity has to serve a purpose in a movie. It's got to fit the characters. And yes, these characters, they would definitely use profanity, but they just weren't interesting to me. They were just completely annoying. Whereas Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, I love it. He really pulled back on the white trash element of it. He delved deeper into the actual story. It's really a psychological story of what it's like to survive a traumatic incident. But 31, I was not a fan of it. I thought it leaned more towards, Halloween 1. the characters anyway. There is some great imagery in there, but overall, the end of the day, I just found everything loud and annoying. And if you want to hear my, my full in-depth thoughts on that, make sure you check out the review that I recently posted. And another review that I recently posted was Terror Train. I watched Terror Train quite often, but I didn't see it until a few years ago for the first time. I remember for years and years, I had only watched just some of Jamie Lee Curtis's early movies. And really, her slasher movies, I'd only watched Halloween, I think, maybe The Fog. So I definitely wanted to check out some of her others. And Terror Train is one that it's good. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's a fun ride. But it is definitely dated. But like I said, you'll still have a good time with it. And really, it's one of the few horror movies that takes place on a train. So if you're really into trains, then it'll be right up your alley. All right, next up, I watched I Know What You Did Last Summer. And I've seen this movie before, but it's been a long time, so there was a lot about it that I didn't remember. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed this one. I'd say almost as much as the first Scream. It is really an effective 90s slasher. The cinematography alone is excellent, especially during the kill scenes. And I found the hook killer extremely interesting, which is a nice added bonus in a slasher because most of them aren't that interesting. Next up, I threw in an old classic, one that I used to watch constantly when I was a kid, and that is Poltergeist. Now, I think the actors have even commented that Steven Spielberg directed most of this movie. After revisiting it, yeah, it's got that Spielberg stamp all over it. I mean, it's in the suburbs, with the tracking with the camera. Just all those signature Spielberg directing habits are in there. And it has an amazing score. I love the score of Poltergeist. Really effective movie. And I think this was the first time I had watched it on a really good sound system. I highly recommend watching Poltergeist on a good sound system because it just adds to it. Next up, I watched another classic, Brian De Palma's Carrie. I recently picked up the Shout Factory edition of Carrie, which is amazing. I love the artwork on it. Everything's just perfect. And they did a 4K scan. It looks like a brand new movie. But Brian De Palma is one of my favorite directors. If you know his movies, you'll know what I'm talking about. He does a lot of close-ups, and I think he's perfect for horror, actually, because the camera can become claustrophobic at times. But Sissy Spacek, I have to mention her. Her performance in Carrie is just unmatched. I don't think anybody could play Carrie like she played her. At the end, when she is just covered in blood, it is one of the creepiest things I think I've ever seen in a horror movie. And to cap it all off, I said, hey, I watched I Know What You Did Last Summer. I might as well do the sequel, so I did. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Didn't remember this movie at all. I just knew that it took place in a tropical storm, and this movie was not nearly as effective as the first one. It felt rushed. The kills weren't as dramatic. It just felt like they were just trying to move the story forward. The characters were completely uninteresting, and I didn't realize that Jack Black was in this. This was one of his earlier movies, and he plays a completely stupid character. I don't think I'll ever revisit this one. It wasn't a fun movie at all. And I've heard that there's a third one that is just completely atrocious, so I'll probably never even bother with that one. So I think if you want to get into the I Know What You Did Last Summer movies, just do the first one and you'll be good. All right, guys, that's it. Week 2 is wrapped up. I want to thank HorrorGal Susan, and I want to thank Dave from Durant Cinema. Always a pleasure having those guys on, and make sure you come back for week 3 where I got some more guests for you. And be sure to get down in the comments. Let me know what you guys watched over the last week. And also, just to take it even further, jump over to Killer Flicks. Every day we're posting what we're watching in there. So that's just a nice way to constantly communicate about what you're watching. And we just passed 400 members, which is really cool. So anyway, guys, like, subscribe, comment, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, and Drumdum out.